Are you free or am I free?
You good?
I think so, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. The Clover School District Board of Trustees welcomes you to today's monthly business meeting. The CSD board meets formally twice a month, the second and fourth Monday, one work session, one board meeting. The business meeting format is as follows. The board will follow its approved agenda. During public forum, attendees electing to speak will have 3 minutes. The board chair will address all speakers to provide the rules for public forum. Following public forum, the meeting will continue with the remaining presentations on the agenda. Following each presentation, the board will have opportunity to ask questions before moving to the next. Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to be followed by the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We bow our heads, please. Heavenly Father, we come before you today seeking your wisdom and guidance. As we gather to make decisions for the well-being of our students, teachers, and community, may you grant us discernment, compassion, and unity. Help us to lead with fairness and integrity and to always keep the best interests of the children in our hearts. We ask for your blessing over this meeting and that our efforts may honor you and serve the needs of all. Amen.
Without objection, the board will approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. Hearing none, agenda is approved. Without objection, the board will approve the minutes from the last meeting. Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Without objection, the board will approve staff personnel as presented in executive session. Hearing none, personnel is approved. Dr. Quinn, recognitions and appreciations.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair and members of our board, and welcome to all of the wonderful parents and students we have in the room tonight. For those of you at home who can't see what I can see, we've got a full house because we've got some very talented students to recognize as well as some wonderful staff to recognize tonight. Want to welcome everyone here as well as our YouTube channel followers, and we're going to begin tonight with our College Board's National Recognition Program. Many of you know the College Board by another name, PSAT, SAT, or Advanced Placement. So our first awards we're going to be talking about are from our high school students. 13 Clover High School students earned special designations in the College Board's National Recognition Program. The seniors earned the National Rural and Small Town Award for their performance on College Board exams, and these winners include Carolyn Ard. Ask them to come forward as we call their name. Do you need to? Oh, they're at the back. Wait for it. All right.
I don't like Carolyn Horn.
I am pitch hitting for Mr. Dyer, who was pitch hitting for Mr. Courtright. So here we go. We are recognizing what Dr. Quinn just spoke to. So we have Caleb Place for the National and Rural Small Town Award. And their board members. Ashley Gorby for the National Rural and Small Town Award. Kara Cronin. Gabrielle Popejoy for the National Rural and Small Town Award and National African American Scholar. Can I read the rest of them? We have Carolyn Ard for the Small Town Award and First Generation Award. Gwendolyn Bessman for the Small Town Award. Celia Burton. Alexa Galeota. The rest are not here. Matthew Jackson for the National Rural and Small Town Award, as well as the National Hispanic Scholar. Jackson Lewis for the Rural and Small Town Award. Kayla Peters for the National Rural and Small Town Award and First Generation Award. Caroline Pringle for the National Rural and Small Town Award, and William Walker for the National Rural and Small Town Award.
Parents, if you'd like to get your photo op in, this is a good time. Great job. Congratulations. Let's give them one more round of applause. And next, we'd like to also recognize tonight the students who have scored the highest obtainable scale score on the SC Ready and SC Pass test. Those tests are taken in grades 3 through 8. Now, I was prepared to read these, but I see these principals in the audience. Am I reading or are you reading?
Let them read.
I love it. Let them read. They will pronounce all names correctly. That's great. Take all the pressure off. First, we're going to have Bethany come forward.
All right, tonight I have with me, I'm Margaret Guerin, the principal at Bethany Elementary, and I have with me Miss Melody Cunningham, and she had the highest obtainable scale score last year as a third grader on the Math SC Ready.
Thank you, Bethany. Let's now go to Bethel Elementary School. We'll have Miss Siobhan O'Brien. Please announce your winners.
Good evening, Siobhan O'Brien, Bethel. So I have two students with me. I have Wyatt Fields, and he is the highest obtainable score in 4th grade math. And then I have Reagan Kilfoyle. She has the highest obtainable scale score in 4th grade math. And she also has the perfect score for 4th grade language arts writing. So
And congratulations, you guys. Let's give them another round of applause. Now from our smallest schools to our largest school, Crowders Creek. I see Dr. Thomas is here. If you'll please announce your students.
Good evening. I am excited to celebrate some of our phenomenal Crowders Creek scholars this evening. First, I have Cole Johnson, highest obtainable scale score in 4th grade math. Next, I have Donovan Kennedy, highest obtainable scale score in 4th grade math. Next, I have Everett Murray, highest obtainable scale score in 5th grade math. Next, we have Thomas Parker, highest obtainable scale score in 3rd grade math. Next, I have Scarlett Sides, highest obtainable scale score in 4th grade math. And last, we have Jonah Vance, highest obtainable scale score in 5th grade math.
All right, great job, everybody. Next up, we have Griggs Road Elementary School. And Dr. Dickey must be pinch hitting.
Good evening. We're happy to recognize two students from Griggs Road Elementary School. First, we have Emery Harris, who has the highest obtainable scale score in third grade math. And we also have Rustin Miller, who has the highest obtainable scale score in fifth grade math. Thank you.
All right, congratulations. Next up, we have Kiner, and I see Miss Lazarick is here, so please come forward, Kiner.
Good evening. I am honored to represent Kiner here and our scholars. I first have here Michael Johns, who scored the highest obtainable scale score for third grade math. Next, I have Sutton Dover, who had a perfect score for the fourth grade language arts reading subtest. And I have Aiden Habovic, who is not here, but we would like to honor him in his absence.
Okay, way to go, Kiner. Good job. Next up, we have Larn Elementary School, and I see Miss Julie Reichert's here. Come forward, Miss Reichert, and tell us about Larn.
I'm excited to recognize 4 students from Lauren tonight. We'll start with Cash Anderson, who scored the highest obtainable scale score in 4th grade language arts. Mila Vongsali, who had the highest obtainable scale score in 5th grade math. We have Ashlyn Owens for a perfect score on the 4th grade writing subtest. And we have Lillian Stayer for a perfect score on the 4th grade writing subtest.
All right, congratulations, Lauren. Next, we have Oak Ridge Elementary School. I see Miss Masco is here to recognize her students.
Good evening. I would like to begin with recognizing Avery Monroe from Oak Ridge for a perfect score on 4th grade language arts writing subtest. In addition to that, Preston Bennett for the highest score in 5th grade math. Also, John Jones, highest scale score in 3rd grade math. Also, Clayton Matthews, highest score in 5th grade math. In addition, Zoe Prez, highest score in 5th grade ELA. Also, Manha Sheikh, highest score in 5th grade ELA. In addition, Alfred Smith, highest scale score in 4th grade math. And also Lauren Vinson, highest scale score in 5th grade math. And our 2 students that could not be here tonight are Emily Ulrich, and she had a perfect score on the reading subtest, and then also Wednesday Burns, who also had a perfect score on the reading subtest.
Lots of cameras up on this one. All right, way to go, Oak Ridge. Congratulations. While our elementary schools are exiting on this, I just have to say our 4th grade math scores were #1 in the state. So those 4th graders, very proud of them. All right, next up for our middle schools, Clover Middle School. Ms. Wiley is here to recognize our winners.
We have 3 students that we are going to recognize from Clover Middle School. The first is Trinity Scott with the highest obtainable scale score, 6th grade math. The next student we'd like to recognize is Bryce Hegler, perfect score, 7th grade language arts reading subtest. And the final student we would like to recognize is Harper Robbins with a perfect score, 8th grade language arts writing subtest.
All right, way to go, Clover Middle School. And last but certainly not least, we have Oak Ridge Middle School. I see Mr. Mogavera is here to recognize our students.
All right, good evening. We have a big list, so we're going to mix it up a little bit here.
Be sure to step forward or wave when your name is called so we can see who you are.
All right, our first for highest obtainable scale score, 7th grade math, Darsh Agarwal. Highest obtainable score, 6th grade math, Griffin Andrews. Highest obtainable scale score, 6th grade math, Ikjoth Baga. Highest obtainable score, 6th grade math, Cameron Boatwright. Highest obtainable scale score, 8th grade math, Jack Hansen. Highest obtainable scale score, 8th grade math, Ariana Quintana. Highest obtainable scale score, 6th grade math, Michael Shetler. Highest obtainable scale score, 6th grade math, Evan Taylor. Highest obtainable scale score, 6th grade math, Elijah Terry. Highest obtainable scale score, 6th grade math, Nevaeh Walmer. And now, perfect score, 6th grade language arts, writing subtest, James Albrecht. Perfect score, 6th grade language arts, reading subtest, Nicholas Antonangeli. Perfect score, 6th grade language arts, writing subtest, Ikjoth Baga. Perfect score, 8th grade language arts, reading subtest, Christina Bolin. Perfect score, 7th grade language arts, reading subtest, Chloe Jones. Perfect score, 8th grade language arts, writing subtest, Alyssa Kelly. Perfect score, 8th grade language arts, writing subtest, Grant Martin. Perfect score, 7th grade language arts, reading subtest, Dalton Osterberg. Perfect score, 8th grade language arts, writing subtest, Ariana Quintana. Perfect score, 7th grade language arts, writing subtest, Alexander Weigel. And perfect score, 7th grade language arts, reading subtest, Lyra Work. Please help me congratulate all of our perfect scores.
Try to be a straight line, so you guys can back up a little bit, and you guys can forward. If you stay here, like radio would be come forward. There we go. All right, I think that works, huh, parents?
So Brian gets out of the way.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
All right, and thank you, Oak Ridge Middle School. Congratulations.
Do you have a pen?
Oh, it's the check. It's the check. Do we have the staff members? All right, I know this is usually a good time for parents to make an exit, so thank you for being here if you are making an exit, but I also have a few more people to recognize, so I'm glad there are some people who are staying. Great job to everyone. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Okay, we also want to recognize our amazing Clover School District staff members of the month. Each month, CSD and the United Bank of Clover celebrate the staff members of the month in each school. Tonight, we're proud to recognize the following staff members who have been voted on to represent their school from August and September. So we first, from Bethany, have Kennedy Reinhardt, and if you're here, please come forward. Sometimes we have people that join us, and sometimes we don't. From Crowders Creek, Angela Satter. From Larn, Megan Larson. Yay! From Oak Ridge Elementary School, Brooks Day. From Oak Ridge Middle School, Kristen Diddle. From our Applied Technology Center, Edward Salter. From Clover High School, Leanne Mellon. From Bethel, Alicia Opal. From Griggs Road, Jennifer Nelson. From Kynard, Nicholas Richards. From Clover Middle School, Brittany Simmons. From the Clover Virtual Academy, Josephine Garcia. From the 9th grade campus, Shannon Widener. And from our district office, Miss Leela Littlejohn. I know, she's here. She's probably working. Mr. Dillon, Miss Littlejohn's not right outside the door, is she? It would be nice. We'll take a picture of the ladies who are here tonight. Thank you for all of your hard work and very well-deserved recognition. Okay, that concludes our recognitions for this evening. What a fun month to get to see all the kids do so well on their test scores from last year. We will now begin public forum. If anyone would like to stay for the rest of the meeting, we certainly welcome you to stay. If you need to leave, this is also a good time. Mr. Dillon, do we have anyone for public forum?
Yes, we do. We have two. First one is Mr. Chuck Bayard.
Yeah.
Mr. Bayard, as you come forward, if you'll go there to the podium, please, sir. Yes, sir, we sure will. Thank you so much. If you don't mind, I'm just going to read a couple of statements just to provide the parameters of the public forum. Any individual desiring to speak must sign in, which you've done, so thank you very much. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Doesn't look like you have a group with you, so I won't talk about the group requirements. Speakers may only address school operations and programs during public forum. The board will not hear personal complaints about school personnel or persons connected with the school system in public session. Persons appearing before the board are reminded as a point of information that board members are without authority to act independently as individuals in official matters. Thus, questions must be directed to members, but answers must be deferred pending consideration by the board. The board will receive public forum presentations as items of interest and will take no formal action on these matters, nor will it participate in a debate concerning these matters. Board members may ask questions or respond to matters for the purpose of clarification. So please go ahead. Thank you.
I'm Reverend Dr. Chuck Bayard, a retired Presbyterian minister. 60-odd years ago, I was a street punk with an attitude. I quit school to join the Army. First stop, Fort Jackson, South Carolina, Army basic training. The singular, most important event of my life. There I learned discipline, self-control, and life skills I've got nowhere else in the world. Tonight, I stand before you as a former business owner, a pastor, the editor of a magazine, and a published author with 2 doctorates, one in literature and one in theology. I attribute it all to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and Army basic training. That for background. I'm here tonight to talk about my grandson, Trevor Goff, and to ask your help in the situation he faces in this district. Trevor was born with autism. He faces more challenges every day than most of us adults will in a lifetime. Nonetheless, check the record. He has been on the principal scholarships list every semester since he began school. A lot of prayer, support, and encouragement. However, lately, as he's matured, so has his disability. He's had more and more trouble trying to control his emotions. He has a 504 to accommodate that. When Trevor told me he was interested in the marching band, I was elated. This was Trevor's basic training. I was positive he would learn some discipline and control and life skills. With a lot of prayer, he made it through band camp. And there stood an awful proud member of the Clover High School marching band, excited for school to start and ready for band season. Till the first band practice. He came in that night crying, totally defeated. I said, "What's the matter?" "Papa, I am not in the band. I'm not even in the band." I said, "What do you mean you're not in the band?" "They put me in the JV block." "What on earth is a JV block, Trevor?" "It's this block they put off at the end of the field. We marched back and forth the whole time like a bunch of idiots, Papa. I'm not even in the band." I gave you a picture. If you look to the right, you will see the JV block separated by over 20 yards from the band, with a color guard in between. If you've been to one of the performances, you know you would not associate that 9 kids in the end zone to the band. His parents went to the band director, asking, "What do we need to do? What skills? What tutor do we need?" They were told his skill set is fine. When he can control his emotions, we'll put him on the field. Do what? You're asking a child with a disability, this particular issue right in it, covered by a 504, and now he must prove himself? This is immoral. This is ungodly. But most of all, ladies and gentlemen, this is illegal. It violates federal and state law. I'm asking you tonight to do something about this ungodly JV block. That's my first reason for being here tonight. But I have another. Trevor is at the lowest point he has been in his life. All because of this. He was crushed. This is National Suicide Prevention, Teen Suicide Prevention Month. Something this small community, I think, is well aware of. We've had several in the recent months. Fact shows that most teen suicides begin in school. Peer pressure, bullying, and impossible situations, to the point that they see the only way out is to take their lives. This JV block, what they've done for Trevor. I'm not worried about Trevor, by the way. He's got good parents and a support village that will hold him up. However, I am concerned. I spent 15 years out of the governor's office as a guardian ad litem for abused children in York County. We have a lot of challenged students in this area. I'm going to tell you right now that a huge group of them don't have support at home. The only support they have, ladies and gentlemen, is us, this school district. We're the only adults that care they will ever meet. And what do? We crushed them. So I'm asking 2 things. May this ungodly JV block end. And by the way, it is because of handicaps, disabilities. From the mouth of the band director that Trevor must stop his emotional. This must end. But so I ask you to look at all the programs in our district. Let's stop hurting the children.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, save our children.
Thank you.
Meantime, may God forgive us for what we have done and are doing to our children. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Dillon.
Miss Sheila Island.
Hello, my name is Sheila Ryland, and I'm a grandmother of 3 students at Oak Ridge Middle School. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to address the school board to let you know what a great job the school district did this year with Constitution Day. I even saw it on the marquee as I was driving in, which just absolutely thrilled me. I'm passionate about educating the next generation regarding the Declaration of Independence and the principles that we find in there that were then put into law in the Constitution. If our children and our grandchildren are not educated about our rights, and they won't be able to defend them, and they won't know when they come under attack. As Ronald Reagan said, I love this quote, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on to our children to do the same, or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was like in the United States to be free." I really want to thank several people here. First of all, thank you, Dr. Quinn. Last year, I was concerned when I spoke with my grandchildren, and I asked them what they did during Constitution Day. I really didn't get very many. Basically, they did nothing in their classrooms. And I reached out to Dr. Quinn. She got me in touch with Dr. Millicent Dickey and with Leslie Miller, in charge of the social studies program in the district. And I had a great conversation with them. There's a federal law that says that on Constitution Day, any school that receives federal funds is supposed to present a lesson on the Constitution. And so Dr. Dickey and Ms. Miller were very wonderful about talking to me, brainstorming about different ideas that we could have on how this federal mandate could be honored, and they just, like I said, did a marvelous job. So I just want to say that when my grandchildren came home this year on September 17th, I was very anxious to ask them what they did for Constitution Day. My 8th grade, I have twin grandsons in the 8th grade, they told me they saw an epic video that was done by the high school students on the Constitution, and they really loved it. They also were told by their social studies teacher to think about an amendment to the Constitution and present it the next day on something that they felt would make the Constitution better. It's just a great way for them to think about self-governance and really take it to heart. So I'm just here to say thank you to the school district for listening to my concerns and for just doing a wonderful job this year with Constitution Day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ryland. Appreciate your partnership.
Dr. Quinn, Superintendent's report.
All right.
Miss Leila is here.
Oh, is Ms.
sorry.
Leila here? Ms. Leila, you were recognized as our Staff Member of the Month, and we could not let that go by just because you're busy working, so we have to take your picture really quickly.
You don't have to. Come up here. You gotta come. Unless you want to talk, you get over here. Oh, no. Center.
Thank you for all you do. All right, now for the superintendent's report. First up tonight, I'm going to ask Ms. Knott and maybe Mr. Dillon, but definitely the two marketing and communications people to come forward, and Ms. Shay Anders come forward, because we decided that this month's spotlight had to go to this very special group of people who are just killing it and getting it done every single day in our cafeterias. So we're going to ask Shay to come forward and Brian to present about our cafeteria staff. They've had some unique opportunities this year, and we are very proud of all they've done. So.
All right, so we wanted to put a video together to just highlight our food services team. So we went out and got video and pictures of each of the staffs throughout the district to make sure that we were able to include them in a video that I'll share with you here in a moment. When the signal comes back, there it goes. And then I'll turn it over to Ms. Anders and the team from Chartwell's to speak more about the food services department.
Yeah, watch that.
Yes.
Dramatic. Well, it's very dramatic music. You're doing dramatically good work.
Thank you, Brian. I'm going to introduce our food service team from Chartwell's, and they're going to tell you a little bit more about our program this year and a lot of the new opportunities with our new contract. First of all, I know everyone knows Matt, and you can tell we're all in our work clothes. And our supervisors, who are our area directors, are Peggy Luther and Brandon Lewis, and they're going to talk to you some more about our new programs.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Quinn. Thank you, board. We're very excited to be here and to talk about the new contract, talk about the new things that we've got going on, and as you saw, all the hard work that our ladies do every day. We're just super excited. As Shay said, my name is Brandon Lewis. I am one of the area directors for the area, and I've got the benefit this school year of having Clover as one of my districts and one of my areas to help with. And in doing so, we really wanted to focus on the variety and the food that we have and that we're offering to our students. And this year, we're really focusing on fresh, really focusing on that variety, focusing on diversity. So what you're going to see, and if you've looked at the menus already this year, you've already seen things like tikka masala and jerk chicken and there's even a cacciatore from Italy. And so all of these things are in here to try to, one of the things we talk about all the time is having something on the menu that every child relates to from home, okay? And so that's not a lot of meat and threes. Yes, we still have that meat and three, that meatloaf and that mashed potato and all that good stuff that a lot of us who grew up in the South like. But we're really trying to focus on new items that other kids from, different parts of the country, different parts of the world are really going to see and focus on. And we're tweaking that as we go. We've already made it through our first cycle, and we're already tweaking those menus to make sure that we have something good and different and making it easier as we go for the staff and all of that fun stuff. But again, we're just really worried about really working on variety and that feel for something that's a homemade meal for all of our students, and not just necessarily our meat and threes like I do and like I grew up with, meatloaf and mashed potatoes and gravy and green beans and all that good stuff, okay? So we really want to work on bringing the fun back to the cafeteria. That's one of my big passions is, during COVID, we were just feeding, we were really feeding, and we did a great job, and our staff did an excellent job at feeding our students and giving them the meals that they need. But now we just want to bring that fun back to it. And if you've been in Clover for a while, maybe you've noticed or you heard that we had Ellie, which was our teaching kitchen, and we brought it to the high school. Basically, it was a shipping container that we modified into a teaching kitchen, and we had students come and we did lessons and demos on how to prepare. I think at that time it was a taco. Yeah, it was a taco. And so we showed them how to press, use the masa ball, press their own tortilla. They made a chicken. We demoed cooking the chicken. They made a relish or a salsa out of radishes and different things, and they put it on there, and it was a great hit. And so we wanted to capitalize on that. And as you know, shipping containers can get pretty expensive to move. They're hard to move around. So we actually designed a food trailer instead of a truck. It's actually a food trailer, and it has that same aspect where it's got TVs on it so kids can see the cooking demo inside. It has a demo table all the way around the outside of it. And it's just a great way for us to be able to reach more kids at different locations in multiple schools. So again, we're just really trying to focus on bringing that education and that fun back to the students and that variety as well. So thank you for the opportunity. Y'all have anything else?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Dr. Quinn, for passing my email along for our exciting event we have coming up next week in Spartanburg. And yes, it would have been great to take him to every school district, but it was a little too expensive. So I tried to find a central location. But we partner with, as Brandon was saying, with these different recipes, we partner with chefs from different countries to ensure that the recipes that we're developing are true, authentic flavors. So Mexican is not like, you go get Mexican down the street. It's very authentic. So, having said that, Chef Jet Tila, don't know if anybody knows who that is. He is a celebrity chef, Food Network, Iron Chef, the whole bit. He is coming to Spartanburg, and he's going to be in Spartanburg next Thursday, October the 3rd, from 9:30 to 1:30. Anybody wants to can come. And he's going to do demos, and we're bringing kids in from different districts all across the upstate. So the culinary chef, Michal, he's bringing a class, and so I've kind of given him permission that he can just stay all day if he wants to, because it's important for me that these students, this could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. To be in this position, to be able to meet a celebrity chef, and he's my favorite, and I'm so excited. I'm beside myself. So anyway, thank you, Dr. Quinn, for passing that along, and we're really excited, and we'll make sure we take plenty of pictures and send back.
Hey, thank you for doing that. We're super excited to send the kids, and I hate that I'm trying to compete with the Biggest Loser right now. I'm trying to, because I can't go taste all the food, but I'm really excited the kids are getting to go.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Board questions? Nope. Thank you, Chartwells and team,
Thank you.
Shay, Matt, we appreciate all you do. And to all the ladies in the schools, this was your tribute tonight, so thank you for all you do. Next up, we also have Donnie Griggs here from our maintenance team. And Donnie leads a very small but mighty group of guys that get so much done in our district, and he's here to do his annual report this year. And I noticed it's a lot shorter than it normally is.
I'm trying to be good.
I know, I noticed that, so thank you.
So, yeah. I want to thank you for allowing me to come and present what's going on a little bit in the Maintenance and Facilities Department. We have a whole lot going on, as Dr. Quinn mentioned, so I'm going to try to be really brief with this and just keep it rolling. So, am I flipping or are you flipping? Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to start off with my maintenance staff. As Dr. Quinn had mentioned, we have a sort of a small staff for the amount of area that we have to cover. We're covering right now about 1.8 million square feet of facilities consisting of about 22 buildings. So that's a lot of ground to cover. Right now, currently, it's about 22 miles apart from one side of the district to the other. So we cover a lot of ground. We've got 21 staff members, including 19 technicians and 2 office staff members, being myself and Miss Brenda Jackson. I'd like to highlight her just a second for the job that she does. I often call her the brains of the operation because she's the brains of the operation. She has so much on her plate every day, a lot of responsibilities. She processes all of our purchase orders through the office. She processes every work order that comes through from every facility. She processes every one of those. She's very involved with all of our daily operations, with planning and scheduling, as well as she is over all of the custodial supplies with every facility that we have. She is the one that makes sure that all those supplies gets delivered and ordered. So she does a really, really good job. If you ever see her out, just pat her on the back, thank her for the job she does. She's a great employee. As I mentioned, we have 19 technicians. We have 2 electrical technicians, 3 HVAC technicians, 2 plumbing technicians, 2 carpentry technicians, 2 painting technicians, 2 doors and locks technicians, 1 cabinetry and 4 grounds crew, and 1 security guy who is over all of the security. We have, for our after hours, we have a team of 4 that takes care of those calls on a rotation. That's John Davison, Daniel Joy, Andrew Love, and myself. Work orders, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, when I first started in this position, we were on software called School Dude. That School Dude software had gotten a little outdated, so teamed up with IT and Matt Hoffman and his group. They were on a software called One-to-One. So they designed a software to fit our maintenance department and kind of made it fit better than what the School Dude software was doing. We're able now to track our projects a lot better. We're able to give more progress reports through emails and updates and information to our principals or whoever has the work orders in place. And overall, it's just a whole lot better software. It's working better for us, and we're being able to track a whole lot better. Typically in our buildings, we have designated staff members who are ones that create the work orders. Most of the time it's your APs, head custodians typically, and it just depends on the principal how they want to have it set up. But normally it's only 1 or 2, 3 people that create the work orders and send them to us, and we look at all kind of different work orders. Roof leaks and plumbing issues, HVAC, power outages, ground maintenance, painting the facilities, a lot of different things that come across our desk that we see on a daily basis. I do want to clarify one thing, though. My grounds crew, they are not responsible for cutting. That staff doesn't cut the grass at every building. That's contracted out with individual private companies. It comes through our office. But our grounds staff is more responsible for our field maintenance, like our football fields, baseball fields, all the turf fields, anything outside the envelope of the schools that's not just regular grass cutting. Our grounds crews takes care of that and takes a good job.
You might want to advance the slide. I knew you were talking through it, but for the people at home, they might want to see that. There you go.
Oops, okay, that's where I'm at now. So as we're talking about work orders, this is just a showing of what we did last year. From 6/1/23 to 6/30/24, we completed 3,570 work orders. Already up to this date, or as of 18th of September, we've already completed 973. We average about 270 work orders in our queue almost all the time. That's a pretty decent average. Let's talk a little bit about some recent maintenance projects that we've had going on. This is kind of going to be just an overview of our summer projects and a little bit of what we've got going on throughout the district. This picture that you're seeing right now is the Griggs Road operable wall. If you've been to that building, you know the big wall that's in between cafeteria and the multipurpose room, all cut up and damaged and broken. We finally, after being on a wants list and a needs list for a long time, we got that funded. Over the summer, we were able to replace it with a very like kind wall. The wall that was there before would take 3 or 4 staff members just to try to open it and close it. It was in terrible shape on its last leg. Now one person can go and open and close that wall. It looks so much better. It's clean, made the whole area look better. Some of the projects that we did over the summer with some flooring, wanted to mention some of those. The high school chorus wing, that entire wing was original to the build. It's about 4,700 square feet. It had gotten in really bad shape. It was having some moisture issues, so the tile was starting to pop up off the floor. So we were able to come in over the summer and take up all of that old VCT tile and replace it with our Milliken LVT that we're using throughout that building to make it match. And it, in the long run, is going to wind up saving the district money because we don't have to wax it every year like we did the VCT. So it's a whole lot easier to maintain, has a very long lifespan with that as well. Clover Middle School, the chorus room, it was original carpet that was installed when the building was built. It had gotten pretty raggedy, so we went in and replaced that. It was 1,170 square feet. Oak Ridge Elementary School with their music room. When that building was built, it had these huge platforms in there. That was taking up most of the rooms. So Ms. Masco decided that she wanted those removed. So we took them out. And I'll tell you what, if there had been a hurricane or a tornado, that would be where I wanted to be, is under those little steps, because they were really built. So, yeah, we took those up. They were attached to the floor, so it messed up the LVT that was on the floor. So we went in and replaced that with some carpet that made the sound levels a lot better. Now they can enjoy the entire room. The teacher can really utilize a lot of the space that he wasn't being able to utilize before that. Oak Ridge Middle School, the 6th grade breakout areas. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in just a second. But we were able to come in, and after the room was divided and we built that, we put the new Milliken Education Design sound deafening carpet on the floor to help with the echoes in those areas. That was 2,024 square feet. And even some rooms here in the district office, we had 3 rooms that got damaged by water intrusion, about 630 square feet. We took those up and replaced those. Also, one other project that I want to mention is our IT department. We're finally getting to a point where we could add some office space there. So once that project is finished, we'll add new carpeting, LVT, to those floors for 4,577 square feet. We're going to do the old section and the new section with new LVT as part of that project. Here's a couple of pictures that I just threw in there just to kind of show you this. The one on the left will show you the Clover Middle School chorus room with the new carpet. The one on the right is the course wing at the break room and the course wing at the high school to show you the LVT that we put on the ground. It just made it look so much cleaner. It's a lot easier to keep it all clean. This is showing you the Oak Ridge Middle classroom additions where we made the 2 classrooms out of the 6th grade wing. You'll remember a couple years ago we did the 7th grade and 8th grade wings where we went into the center of them, built the big 30-foot wall, closed in both sides, closed in the front where you see in there on the left side, and added the doors to the classroom to make 2 classrooms instead of the one large area. Our last space to move, gain space in that building. So
It's a very full building now.
yes, it is. But those turned out really well. A good addition to the building. This is a shot of the IT department, the new area that we're adding, about 1,170 square feet of new office space. It'll be 3 or 4 individual offices, 1 large area where there's 3 desks. There'll be 3 desks in that area, 2 smaller conference rooms. It'll be a good addition for that building because they were starving for space over there as well. Shouldn't be too much longer on this project. We finally got the HVAC stuff situated through the engineers, and that job has been awarded, so we should be able to start rolling again on that project.
Mr. Grice?
Yes.
So is the entire IT area now climate controlled, or is there still a warehouse area that's not?
There is the warehouse area will not be climate controlled, but all the new offices will have new HVAC, as well as the old office space will have new HVAC. We're replacing everything, the ductwork, everything in all that area, because it had gotten in such bad shape. We were afraid of what might be in the ductwork, so we're replacing all of that. But the outside area where the storage is will not be HVAC, climate controlled. This is a photo of the media center at the high school. My staff got involved with this project in a lot of different ways. What you're seeing right there is the circulation desk. All the countertops, what parts you can see there, my staff built and installed. Also, we did the workrooms, the bathrooms. We were able to save the district a lot of money by us doing that in-house as opposed to the contractor doing those projects. So we took that over, as well as the carpet. You see the carpet, that is our Milliken that we've been using. The contractor wanted to use a different brand of carpet, so we asked if we could try to put Milliken down. I met with Heidi with Milliken. She came to town and looked at the project. Through a little bit of work, she was able to price match the contractor's pricing, so we were able to continue with our Milliken products that we're trying to be consistent with. Just a lot of different ways that me and my staff got involved with this project, although it was a contracted out project. We all remember the power outages that we had at the high school, the 2 power outages. We were very involved with those outages. It wasn't a part of the project, but it wound up being affected by the project and causing the outages as we helped get those corrected. The water line replacement, finding out where the water line is, where is it located, where is the new location, the drainage lines, inspections, OSF inspections, third-party inspections, just color choices, lots of color choices through that project. Just wanted to always make sure that CSD has our input on projects like this to make sure that we are getting what we want, what we need, and that everything is covered and we're not handed over a project with some issues in it right off the bat. This next slide is sidewalks from Bethany after the dust settled out there and all the new wing was finished and completed. We wanted to come back and add some connector sidewalks so that all of the entrances and the playground could be reached while walking on concrete, not having to walk in the grass. So we added about 325 feet of sidewalks out there.
Donnie, sorry, I'm sorry. Has the track held up since you went back in and the new track out there?
Yes, it held up some of those monsoons that we had recently, and it's staying in place now. We did add some drainage ditches underneath the track, so it would carry the water instead of across the top. It goes under it now. So far, so good. It's holding up.
All right, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. This next slide is the transportation gates that we added over the summer. As the security levels rise everywhere, we thought this was a good place, and this is something that we've been wanting to do for a while. The photo that you see on the left where the van is, that's where the buses go in and out. The one on the right is where the staff go in and out. It made it so much safer now because now the staff can pull up and card themselves in and out without having to get out of their vehicle, unlock a gate, open the gate, drive through, and then shut the gate back and lock it all back up. Now they can do it with just a card swipe. And that was really important when you had the staff members coming back in at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and having to get out of their vehicles to open the gates. So these, that was a good addition for that. It's, like I said, it's something we've been wanting to do for a while. And I wanted to brag on my staff a little bit on that project. We added 4,700 square feet, or linear feet of conduit, high voltage wire, low voltage wire that we trenched in and installed in order to make that project work, and it saved the district a lot of money. So I wanted to brag on them a little bit about that. Next one is the memorial from Kynard Elementary. Well, it was Kynard School at that point. If I'm right, that was a K through 12. Yeah. So it wasn't Kynard Elementary, the Kynard School. It was lost somewhere in construction, or for whatever reason it got missing. Luckily, Ed Stewart had a photo of it. So we were able to go locally and have it recreated. It looks very much like what the old one looked like, and we weren't able to tell what size it was by the photo. And this one looks small here, but it's actually, if you haven't seen it yet, it's 6 foot tall, 4 foot wide. And it now stands over at the Memorial Stadium so everybody can see it. It's a really nice addition over there.
Have you had Ed over to look at that? I don't know if we've had Ed. Would you read the inscription just so I don't think people at home can see that very well?
It says, "The class of 1943 honors the boys and girls of Clover High School who answered the call to serve their country. Dedication of original marker May 21st, 1943. And the other's too small, I can't read it.
So we had a community member who brought it to our attention that this used to stand at what is now Kynard Elementary School, which was the old Kynard School. And, we looked and looked for it, could not find it, so we wanted to recreate it. And it now stands at our Memorial Stadium. So thank you for leading the charge on that. And Ms. Stiff was very instrumental in pushing us to do that as well. So thank you, Ms. Stiff. Thank you.
That concludes my presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
Have you had the community members out to see this memorial? I know Ed had talked about.
We haven't set together a time yet. We just got it installed right before the season started, so I wanted it to be there for this season. I think Ed was going to work on putting something together for that, but yeah, I think that would be a great thing to do.
Okay, I'll talk to him. Thank you.
Perfect.
It looks
You're
great.
welcome. Good. Great.
All right, thank you, Donnie Grice. And next up, Dr. Dickey and Ms. Goff, talking about our recent test performance. We were already celebrating student results. This will be school and district level results.
Good evening, Dr. Quinn, Mr. Chair, and members of the board. Ms. Goff and I thank you for the opportunity to be able to share about our school test results. So tonight we're going to talk about SC Ready, which is given to students in grades 3 through 8, and we'll also talk about end of course scores for students at high school. So just to kick us off, we'll start with our SC Ready English Language Arts performance. And while we did see a little over a 1 percentage point decline in ELA, we still remain above our pre-pandemic performance. We do have some concerns about pacing and recognize that the shift to a modified balanced calendar threw us a little off in our pacing of instruction, so we're working to look at that this year and how we can get better accustomed to that. Another concern of us for ELA was this year our students had to take a writing field test in April, which we encourage our students to take everything very, very seriously when it's a test in front of them. But then they also had to turn around in May and take the actual test that counts toward our report card. So between iReady and SC Ready, we can recognize that there probably was a bit of test fatigue as well for our students this year. We are working to provide our principals and our assistant principals with look-fors so that they are better able to support teachers in the building and providing that instruction. If we look now, we have grade performance, and so we recognize that this past year we had our 3rd, 5th, and 7th grades classes that showed slight increases, but the other grade levels showed a little bit of decline. However, even with the decline, we're still above our pre-pandemic levels. We recognize that the writing portion of the test is a bit of a concern for us as a district because our students are not performing as well as we would like for them to on the writing subtest. So we will be working and providing a little more support to see if we can't improve in that area. And then finally, just to look at Clover compared to the state. And so even, again, while we saw a bit of a decline, we still outperformed the state by an average of 13 percentage points. So we are proud of being able to still perform that way. This year in ELA, we have new materials in elementary through high school. So in elementary grades, you all probably saw last spring, you all approved SAVIS for our elementary schools, and you approved HMH Study Sync for our high schools. And what's really great about both of these is that for the first time in a while, we have great digital materials, but we also have print materials that came, so it gives us an opportunity to put actual copies of books in children's hands and using those resources for ELA instruction. And so we know we have areas to grow, and we're trying to target those things that where we can get better and be able to improve in ELA. And so now I'll turn off to Ms. Goff for math.
Thank you. We are just a couple of percentage points away from math pre-pandemic levels. We feel like there's a couple of reasons for that, so I want to speak to those. We are just slightly below where we were last year, but if you talk about cohorts and all of the different things that factor into that, it's negligible. We've had a lot of practice shifts because of the newer standards that have taken time to implement and to work on a scope and sequence that works as we shift standards. So next year is the first year that we will not take the Algebra 1 EOC, the Algebra 1 course and the EOC that's attached to it in middle school. So the sequence of math courses is going to flip-flop. So they'll take geometry in middle school, and then they'll take the algebras together in high school. They'll still get a high school credit opportunity in middle school, but the EOC course will actually be the second high school course, which is in line with English 2. So it will be the second English course and the second math course that you take for the end of course state test. Across the grade levels, as Dr. Dickey highlighted, we have several grade levels that are above where we were last year, and we are happy to report that one of those is in the middle school area where we are truly struggling to come back out of where we've been, and it's because of all the standard and practice shifts, because we want our kids to have a strong foundation. When we flip courses, there are going to be kids who miss some content in the middle, so we're trying to make sure we've set a solid foundation for them, regardless of where their high school path takes them in the math courses. So we're being tested on a particular grade level standard in that year, but we want to be what's best for kids long term, and that's giving them a solid foundation so that they can tackle whatever comes to them. We have begun to use a product that the DRC has released. It's called DRC Beacon. It mirrors the look and feel of SC Ready. So while we use iReady as a formative assessment, we're going to be also using DRC Beacon because it will give us, it has testlets that we can take in particular content sets. So our students can practice showing what they know on that grade level content with a tool that looks like how they're going to be assessed at the end of the year. So it's still practicing that skill, showing their skill, but it will be more mirrored to the experience that they'll have in May. Also, as Dr. Dickey highlighted in English and math, we actually have a greater gain over the state. On average, we have 19% more of our students in each grade level meeting or exceeding the state expectations in their grade level content.
And now just to talk a little bit about science. So again, this year, our 4th and our 6th graders did take an SC Ready test for science. However, it was mainly used as a field test for item alignment. So in terms of where science used to be the basis of preparing for success on the state report card, that has been absorbed into other areas on the report card. So our science score is really just for item alignment and not necessarily counting toward our performance overall as a district.
But they will count this year, though.
It doesn't count this year, right?
In this testing year.
In this testing year, yes.
It will count.
It will count this year.
Last year was just a field test, yes.
And to that point, Dr. Quinn, they did not give us any breakdowns for student performance in terms of the categories that they report on for different standard sets. They didn't give us any of that data. Like our biology students, we only got the final score for the course, not whether they're lower in a particular unit of study or not. So it's not giving us a lot of instructional decision driving tools, unfortunately. But the high school was held accountable for the science standards, where the 4th and 6th grade were not. So to close our presentation is to talk about the high school end of course assessments. The greatest gain here is in Algebra 1, where we not only recovered a 5% loss from last year, but added another 10 to that for a 15 percentage point gain to get that 76% of our students earning a C or better on their EOC.
And she did say C, not D.
Yes.
So we try to go C or higher for this.
The focus there is not the pass rate, but it is a mastery approach of they have an average score of C on that assessment. Thank you, Dr. Quinn. Algebra 1, as I said to you just a minute ago, will not be a mix of middle and high school students when we come to you next year in 2025. It will be all high school students that we're talking about because they will take it in their 9th grade year if they're ahead, or traditionally their 10th grade year. English 2 was high last year, and it's high again. It's even higher. It's 4.4% up, and that is, again, students earning a C or better. Biology held steady with a change of -0.2%, so it's right there at the same place. U.S. history is holding with only a slight decline to that 53.6% of our students.
We thank you for your time. Are there any questions we can answer for you? Thank you all very much.
All right, the last major topic before we get into some policies tonight, it will be our school calendar. As Mr. Dillon's coming forward, he just finished presenting the same information to our Parent Advisory Committee, who gave us a great deal of feedback, so I'll turn it over to you now to share some of those.
Thank you, Dr. Quinn. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I am here to present for first reading the academic calendar for the 2025-2026 school year. It is very similar to the information that I shared with you in the work session, have not made any changes at this time, so we'll pull right into this. It continues to be the modified balance calendar, as we talked about. This is a pure 90-90 split per semester, and each quarter is 45 days each, allowing for that balance and for the competitive reasons and for the academic reasons to help support those students. So the main thing I wanted to share tonight is what the feedback, how we're going to gather some feedback. So first off, we had our Parent Advisory Committee last Tuesday evening. It was a very good group. We had a nice, robust conversation that lasted a little bit longer than we had scheduled. So it just shows the good conversation that we were having on the different topics that we were discussing that evening. So when we met with the Parent Committee, there was expressed some confusion on the difference between the half days and the early release days. So we did speak with them, and I want to share that feedback today as well. The half day is we can only have 3 of them, and those 3 are in the calendar, and we do those at the same times every year. They are the very last day of school, as everybody's wrapping up with those end of school year presentations and award ceremonies. They are on the last day of the first semester as we head out for winter break, which you also have a lot of winter parties and wrap-up events on those days. And the other one is in September, which we have coming up and it's based on supporting our teachers for parent-teacher conferences. And we did share that with the Parent Advisory Committee, that day is meant to be able to allow them that time to schedule those. And in this calendar, you will see there's actually a work day behind that as well. So it's a half day on a Thursday and then a work day on a Friday, which allows even more time. They've expressed that desire to have more feedback. And then there was also concerns in that group expressed about some of the anxieties about missing a week of school, being out for an entire week, and then coming back and getting into a routine again. It takes some time. So that is in regard to our intersessions that we have. We do have 2 intersessions that are in the calendar. We have one in October, and we have one in February as well. So that is what we heard back from them. And then the other is about whether there should be 3 days in October and then a week in November around Thanksgiving. And one of the things we expressed with that thought is with some of our neighbors coming on board to add intersessions. This calendar was just passed in Fort Mill as well. The availability of additional daycare opportunities is going to go up and potentially Rock Hill as well. With the numbers that are going to be in need, we project that there's going to be more offerings for those. As you continue to see it available more and more, it will be a money-making opportunity that businesses will see as well. And that's why we shared that with them, that we do project more and more opportunities to come on. So while we might, if we went away from that, might not have as many options, but there might be more traveling. So those are all considerations that we're thinking through and that we shared. We will be conducting an open survey. I did adjust that to September the 24th to start on a Tuesday and run through Friday, October 11th, and we'll seek feedback from both parents and staff.
Just a point of clarification, the PowerPoint does not have the most updated calendar, but the draft that's also attached does in their board docs. So
Okay.
we were talking, that's what we were having a sidebar of, is that it's in the actual
My apologies.
draft.
I'll make sure you have that.
It's okay, they were just asking questions.
I'll check on that and make sure Marlene has the newest one.
Yes.
All right, so there is the draft that is listed. And I see what you're saying, Dr. Quinn, with the September, not in there. Okay, I'll make sure that is adjusted and fixed for everybody. All right, my apologies for that.
No
for sure.
worries, it's definitely in board docs, and people can see it when they click on the actual
Gotcha. Okay. So that is in September. There is a half day on a Thursday and a work day on the Friday in order to help facilitate those parent-teacher conferences. And what we shared with parents on Tuesday evening is that that is an opportunity where those start. And what we tell teachers is we want to make sure that every parent is at least offered an opportunity to have that one-on-one time for a parent-teacher conference. So that kicks off that time frame. Here's the draft. Start and end dates, August 5th or August 4th, Monday or Tuesday, where we were batting around. May 28th end date. Then you've got Labor Day, Thanksgiving, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and Memorial Day. And then the intersessions, October 6th through 10th and February 16th through 20th. And then the extended breaks for winter and spring break. Are there any questions on the calendar and the plan for feedback, or any questions that you would like to make? Mr. Langdale, when he spoke to you and had some comments at the work session just about that, there was no consensus. There was a parent that spoke up and said she personally prefers the 3 days because it more aligns with her work. So you might see some of that around Thanksgiving as well. I imagine, just like anything, you're going to see a mix of differentiating opinions, but we didn't have a consensus one way or the other. A lot of folks did like the October as well, but I imagine if you give them the opportunity to add that travel for Thanksgiving, they likely like that as well.
we'll see when we put the survey out where the vote lands.
And will that suggestion be included with what you put out, or will you just rely on people to make the suggestion anew?
I did not have that question asked in that way listed in there. It is something that I can add specifically like that, but there's an open-ended if you have any other suggestions for changes to provide it in an open-ended.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Have you had any pushback? I know that in the past, we have not started on Monday because of elementary school, specifically the teachers. Have they spoken out about a Monday start at all?
I think we're starting on Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday? Sorry.
It's gonna be either the Monday or the Tuesday based on, we did make that adjustment because of that workday.
The draft is right. The draft is on Monday.
The draft.
Yeah.
Look at the draft. I need to fix that.
That's what the teachers made that change.
We did talk to the assistant principals and principals about that, and we moved the workday that would have been on that Monday the 4th to the September date, because some of the feedback was the difference between the Monday and Tuesday start versus having the ability to have that workday attached to the half day to help support the parent-teacher conference. They felt like that would be more impactful and more meaningful for the teachers. So the feedback from the principals was they suggested using the Monday, go ahead and start on Monday the 4th, and then use that workday later in September to help facilitate parent-teacher conferences.
Well, that's why you have two different calendars, because when he met with that group, the draft reflects their changes, but the PowerPoint still has the old. But
My apologies for that.
Yeah, no.
I'll fix that.
Sorry for the confusion there, but the draft that you see is the one, and it does start on Monday. And that was because they moved that workday for the parent-teacher conferences.
And one more question. In the past, when we first started talking about these, modified calendars, we did speak with local daycare centers and things like that. Do you still have that relationship where if we needed a list or if they wanted to send us something that we could share that they have openings for those intercessions, do we still have the ability to do that?
Yeah, I do have the ability to contact each of them. Our best relationship is with the CSD Community YMCA, which is probably one of the larger offerings in the area as well, because they use the Y with the larger facility. But we do have access to the daycare center next door, the one up the road on 274, just past Walmart as well, and some others in the area that we could certainly speak with and see what sort of availability they have so that we could share that with parents based on needs during those weeks.
Maybe something on my end of the district would be great.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll make sure that we take a look and see who's all available. As you know, the offerings are not as many.
Right.
So we do look for, and I know there are some folks that have worked on that as well over by Lauren.
It'd be a great thing to be able to share. I know like a lot of people ask in the moms groups and things like that on Facebook if they can, does anybody know? And if they could just pull it from the school, that'd be great.
Okay.
Brian, can you tell us a little more about the survey that's going to go out? Are there any specific questions on it, or is it just draft A, draft B?
So there's just the single draft. I'm going to share the single draft that you have there in your drafts. Going to ask about offerings for intercession if they participated in any last year, what they might like to see. Does that help? Have they seen any positive impact or negative impact on their students' schooling with the intercessions, just to make sure that they are hitting the needs, but also the staff, is that time been helpful to you for your needs as well, because that's a big component of this as well, is how that supports and helps the staff with what they need for that work-life balance, which we've talked a lot about destination district, and that's one of those initiatives as well.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, last part of the superintendent's report is always this time of year, lots of policies. Board, you had a work session, you've already discussed all these policies. Most are unchanged, but we may have one major change, so I'll turn it over to Ms. Sauls.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Quinn, members of the board. Tonight I'm going to present to you for first reading the policies that we reviewed at the work session a few weeks ago. And as Dr. Quinn mentioned, we've adopted the changes that you suggested, but there are a few major changes, or one or two major changes that we'll address. So as you remember, these are the instructional policies that we reviewed at the work session. And then also those that related to student services. So we have quite a few. We've got about 14 different policies, rules, and forms that we took some time to go through. Before we get deep into our policy revision and updates, I'd like to just address some discussion points that came up at the last meeting. The first being, there was a question asked about the inclusion of glucagon for our students with diabetes to help support them in that way, related to one of our policies. And we found out that there is going to be some state legislation surrounding glucagon and its use in schools. So we won't need to put it in this policy because there will be another policy forthcoming regarding that. And then there was another question about, for the policy for seizure-safe schools, are there any additional seizure disorders that need to be addressed, or should we include? And after speaking with the nurse, she said that there are some smaller ones, but typically they are all grouped under epilepsy. So with that, we will be covered in our policy as well. So I wanted to make sure we got the answers to those questions before we moved on.
So with the glucagon, and obviously I'm asking this because I'm a type 1 and have been, I went through the Clover School District as one. With the student's individual health plan, are they allowed currently to bring a glucagon to school with instruction on how to use that, because it is an immediate life-saving device for us?
Because it is life-saving and life-sustaining, yes.
Okay.
Yes, as long as it is included in their individual health plan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question. So what you'll see here, I'm going to orient you just a little bit. What you'll see on the screen are the policy revisions that we proposed last time at our work session. And then when you look further in your board docs, you will see the actual policy draft. So this gives you an opportunity to see the draft as it's written now, but also refresh your memory to some of the changes that were made. So instructional resources and materials, policy IJ, there were no other discussion points that needed to be addressed here, so we will continue with the policy as modeled. The same for IJK. We still have the same adjustments and revisions to that policy, adopting some of the policy language from the model policy, so we will continue with that. And there was no further discussion made there. For IJL, looking at our library and instructional materials and selection and adoption, saying we will adopt the model policy language there, and there were no further discussions regarding that policy, so we will continue as drafted. Again, there was quite a bit of adopted language there, so there's a few more slides there. And then talking about the material selection, we will adopt that language as well. For KEC, KECR, KECE, the form, concerns and complaints about instructional resources, we will continue with the model policy language as we discussed at the last meeting, with no other changes yet. Same thing for KEC and KEC. Appeals. Now, there are a few possibly major or minor changes that were made here, but then we'll talk about another major change. So with KECR, there was some added language that you reviewed at the last meeting, but one of the points of discussion was when you look at the evaluating committee, and there was a choice for language, and the board chose to for the language to read that the board may establish a committee to review all complaints. So we have adopted that language and made that revision for you. Now, moving into the special services policies, we are going to, when you look at policy JKE, we're going to adopt some of the model policy, but there are also some major changes that we are looking to make after some discussion. So I'm going to invite Mr. Ruth up to talk to you a little bit about those policy changes.
Thank you. Following our discussion, I also had discussion with our attorney just to make sure that we're able to clearly delineate between 3 different types of meetings we have when we talk about the expulsion of students. So the language, we took your feedback from last time, made some adjustments to that, but then once again spoke with the attorney for additional changes to the hearing and appeal portion of that we'll have in your next packet. And the only real change there is we want to separate. In Clover School District, we do a due process hearing that's at the school level, where we have a hearing officer, principal, and families that are involved in that portion of the process. We also have, when there's a recommendation for expulsion from the school level, we have an expulsion committee, and we've talked about that several times with the 3 different members that are part of that. So we have an expulsion hearing that takes place at the district office. Then, should there be an appeal to the school board, there's a separate meeting from that as well. So the language, we wanted to make sure that when you use terms like board and hearing and hearing officer, that there are very clear lines between those 3 meetings and that we didn't mix those together in the language. So in working with our attorney, we have a draft here that is very clear in that language, so there's no confusion between the 3.
Are you going to give the board members a copy?
I have that right here.
Yeah, if you would give them that, and we will make sure in the board package, these changes as they're being proposed are reflected, unless you have a concern with what you see, board.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ruth. As we go into policy ECAA, the rule, and 2 of the forms for threat assessment, we will move forward with adopting the model language, the model policy language there. And to our earlier discussion, when we look at life-saving medications, there was the discussion at our last meeting about life-saving medications, but also life-sustaining medications, and ensuring that when students have an individualized healthcare plan, that they have the ability to self-administer life-saving or life-sustaining medicines, to include some of the ones we talked about a little bit earlier. So we will adopt that language, but in the individual health plan, we would like to add just more of what came from the discussion at the last meeting, that talks about, for the purposes of this particular policy, medicine is defined as any life-sustaining medication, with the exception of any Schedule II medications, which students would not be able to self-administer themselves, but it allows for the self-administration of any medicine that is life-sustaining or possibly life-saving, as long as it is included in their individualized health plan. Again, for our seizure-safe schools, there was just a little conversation about, and after conferring with Mr. Ruth, about who will deliver the training for the seizure-safe schools training, and that it will also be offered in person and virtually. So we've included that in our revision. And then finally, our revision for policy JH that talks about student absences and excuses, just ensuring that students are in class for a minimum of 1 hour to be counted as present for that day, for that class period. And that concludes the policies that we've reviewed for first reading. I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have at this time, or any discussion you might, or revisions you might like us to make.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next up, Dr. Hopkins will review projects and facilities.
Let's give a little quick update tonight. You've seen the update that I shared with you from Leitner Management Group, which has more details than I'm about to share, but things are wrapping up at the high school. The only projects that are left moving forward are the field house, the fine arts wing, and the entrances. The entrances are complete. They finished some of the paving on 55 that needed to be patched up last week. So we're waiting for the intersection to begin, and the final landscaping will be done at the entrances to the high school. So that should put a period on that project. Field house, the under roof work has begun. We're still expecting a December delivery. And the fine arts wing for Roosevelt Middle School, we've completed all the utility relocations, and we finally have a good as-built of what exists back there, not only there and behind the high school. So we've got accurate accounts of what's underneath in terms of our utilities now in that place that has been rebuilt so many times over the years. Just wanted to share a few pictures. Here is the field house. You can see the roof is on. There's a picture from the top. Wanted to give a picture of the inside. This is actually standing in the wrestling room looking out towards the fields, and what you see are the locker rooms and restrooms and everything right there. So there's a little interior, lots of brick going up, some more exterior paneling going up soon. So that's moving along nicely. Here's a couple of shots of the building pad behind Roosevelt Middle School. If you imagine if you're at the bus road and this shot, you levitate about 12 feet, you get this shot across the river. So we should see footings get poured very soon. I think today they started this week, pending some weather issues. Hopefully we won't get too much rain on that. A little update on Liberty Hill Elementary School. You know, we made the award to EdCon. We've been working with them. We had our pre-construction meeting for stormwater at the Liberty Hill site week before last, so we're eager to get moving forward there. Just a couple of shots of that site. This is an overhead, and what you see in the foreground at the top is actually West Liberty Hill Road. So this is that the service entrance that will come off Liberty Hill Road, and to the right of that retention pond, which I believe is a temporary one, is where the elementary school will go. Here's a shot looking back the other way, and that whole green treed area to the left of the road, kind of in line with that line below, is where the elementary school. So that 20 acre will get 20 acres. They're putting up the stormwater protection measures now, so we'll see some clearing going on there pretty soon. Excited about that project getting rolling. Lake Wally High School, lots of progress going on out there. Footings poured in 3 main areas of the building. We may have gotten a little further than that since last week. We did have some rain, which slowed things down some. All of the wetlands crossing, if you remember the national permits we had to get, the long process we went through there, so all those have been done. Curb and gutters should be going in, and we should have some rock on the roads and the entrances fairly soon. A couple of overhead shots. You can see this is the overhead of the high school site. What you see, the 2 little skeleton-looking areas up to the top on the right side is one of the wings, 2 of the wings. The main office is in this area. Back here, it will be the practice gym and the new gym. And the athletic section's back here. So it's starting to come together. It's moving pretty quickly. We always want to keep it pushing, though, so we're excited about the things that are happening there. And finally, I want to end tonight with a couple of one approval and one FYI. Every year, you know, I ask you, we go over what our capital budget is. We have our principals put together a list of items that they feel like need to be addressed at their schools. Mr. Love appropriates a budget, our capital working budget, and that's where we get things done over the summer. Lots of small projects, some bigger projects. One of those projects was the IT center. The maintenance department took care of the interior building, the walls and wiring and all that stuff. But the big ticket item is the HVAC. And you heard Mr. Grice mention some of the issues with the original HVAC system, and we're going to upgrade. So our prices have come in through the procurement process. So I would ask approval for us to spend $90,000 of funds that have already been appropriated through the capital budget for these things to go ahead and get the HVAC installed so we can wrap up the HVAC at the IT center. And then the second one is an FY. It's under $45,000. You don't need to approve, but I wanted to make you aware the other item on that capital budget is some fencing at Bethel, and we finally got that project rolling, so there'll be some new fencing going up at Bethel very soon. So.
All right, without objection, the board will approve the IT expansion HVAC not to exceed $90,000. Hearing none, it's approved.
Any other questions about any projects or anything? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's up to Ken now to get this thing over with.
Yeah.
Last but not least.
Dr. Love?
You like to say we saved the best for last, don't you, Mr. Love?
I thank you for that. Thanks so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Quinn, and members of the board. I won't take a significant amount of time today because we just have general information. If you'll notice, thus far, we have taken in $13,700,000, and we have spent $9.4 million for a shortfall of about $4 million. This is typical at this time of year because very few times we will take in more money than we spend. Typical in the falls that way, and that's why we need a fund balance. The state is requiring us to report that unappropriated fund balance each month this year. So by the 20th of each month, we have to report an estimated balance of what we have left. So what we reported this month was the balance in the fund balance in June plus 13 million less 9 million. That's what we send in. This is on the cash basis. The fund balance at the end of the year is on the accrual basis, where we record all the accounts payable that haven't been paid plus anything that is due us. And this is the standard detail that we have showing the printout from the ledger showing the detail of various accounts, and if over on the same thing on the expenditure side. Now, in terms of what we want to talk about is this time of year's tax notices. They were computed over the weekend and they're sitting on our individual accounts. I checked mine today and I got to go borrow some money.
Dig a hole.
Yeah. They won't be mailed until sometime in October. There were 144,000 individual tax notices calculated by the county this weekend. Our audit is underway. We will not have that completely finished until sometime in November, and we're planning on reporting to you the results in November because it is due December 1st to the State Department. Our preliminary calculation shows that we should have about $300,000 to be able to carry it over for appropriation for the building fund. And if you notice, we have calculated, or remember, 300 million. I slided that. I try to slide those decimals, you know.
I think it's 3 million. Is it 3 million?
3 million.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Close to 3.
You remember what Terry Morrison used to say about trying to get a raise? All you have to do is slide the decimal to the right a little bit. I'm going the other way so we can save a little. 3 million we suspect that will help us in the cash flow necessary for the construction of the new buildings, since we're so tight. We are in the process of refunding the 50 million ban, and we took bids last week for the refunding. We're borrowing an additional 72 million to pay the 50 million back, plus give us another 72 million to pay us for the next year of construction. That'll mean we'll have 122 million outstanding this time next year. And next October, we will have to borrow the balance of the 156 million to have cash on hand to finish the completion of the high school. The same thing is happening with the Lake Wiley contract. And we have the bids last week came in at a 2.822452 percentage rate from J.P. Morgan. We had 5 bidders. The highest one was 3.118099%. So that's a pretty good interest rate that gets us through to this time next year. It will change when next year rolls around. And since the feds have reduced their interest rate just a wee bit, we may get up just a slightly little bit less. In terms of the money for the Liberty Hill Elementary, Liberty Hill Elementary, I got too many things going on. We refinanced that through SCAGO, the 15 million there, and their interest rate was about 3.4. That we will pay next March. We did have to go through a complete analysis by Moody's Rating Services, and we received an AA2 rating, which is the They're very near the top. And what they said was AA2 is characterized by a healthy demographic profile, strong finances, average long-term liabilities, and moderate fixed costs. The district's solid finances comprise healthy fund balance, reserves, and liquidity. Although currently manageable, the district's long-term liabilities and fixed costs are likely to go in the near future due to the issuance of a significant amount of debt to fund capital projects. That's a good statement that helps us get that 2.8% interest rate. It also is a caution that as we grow more debt, and we get into it this time next year, that may change slightly. I don't expect the overall rating to go down, but since it's going to change slightly, it may cause a slight change, 1/10 to 2 in the interest. That's what we look at as we go through these things. Also, in terms of adult lunch prices, we were notified since our last board meeting that we weren't charging enough. It was nice of them to let us know after we started school, and we'd already said it, but we're going to have to go up to about $5.50 for adult lunch prices. No change for breakfast and no change at all for students. So that's my report. If anybody has any questions, I think we got. It's supposed to be a question there, but nonetheless.
Any questions,
Welcome
Board?
to.
I'm all questioned out.
Okay.
Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, that concludes the superintendent's report and all of the other financial.
I need a motion to end the board meeting.
So moved.
Second.